We are in video 4 of this series where I share all of the ways that you can use my deck for introspection. Of course, you can do whatever you want to do, use my deck however you choose, but I wanted to take some time to share all of the different ways that my deck can be used. The fourth way that you can use my deck is by looking at the self-love messages. This is like my favorite part of just my deck and the guidebook. Like I love this. I'm a little biased. The self-love messages is something that the easiest way I guess to explain it is just like channeled messages. I would literally sit with each card and really think about what is a loving and encouraging message that truly embodies the energy of the card that I'm looking at, but also gets really to what you might need to hear. I wrote every single self-love message and hopefully you can kind of see the intention. So I am going to share some examples of a self-love message that is in my guidebook just to give you a little bit of a clearer picture of what this actually means. So the guidebook includes one self-love message that relates to the card that you've picked. Oftentimes the self-love message has a question or it's just an opportunity to just think a little bit more about how it could apply. Like the journal prompts, each self-love message can be a chance to write down your thoughts. It does not have to be that way. If you choose to look at this more so as a way to write down your thoughts, there will be a worksheet attached, but it is not something that you have to use. You could use whatever you already have. You can use a journal, you can use your notebook. It doesn't matter. You don't have to use what I share. I'm just sharing this in case you want to use it. So let's look at some examples. The first example comes from the Emperor card, and then the second example comes from the Empress card. I'm just going to read the self-love message of both, and then we'll talk about how this could apply to specific areas. So for this, the Emperor card, the self-love message says, "Don't be overwhelmed when extra responsibilities come your way. You have all the tools you need to live a balanced life. If things become too difficult, use your powerful voice to make sure your needs are always met." It's just a loving message, okay? It's a loving message from me to you, the person who is reading and using this deck. And so for the Empress card, the self-love message says, "You are abundant, beautiful, and nurturing, the total package. While you are physically beautiful, your best quality is your big heart that is full of compassion and love. As with most big-hearted baddies, you have to find a healthy balance and pour back into your cup. Refill your emotional bank by taking care of yourself." After reading the self-love message to these cards, my next question to myself is, how does this message apply to my life? So if I'm looking at the Emperor card as an example, going through the list that I've already provided in every single one of my videos, we're just going to pick a specific area. And if the area that you are thinking of is not included, then you can just write it out and then explain a little bit more as needed. So what I chose was friendship/family, specifically family. But the example that I chose to kind of expand on after reading this self-love message, I might need to speak up and let my family know that I don't have it all together. Maybe I can ask for help. Because if I'm looking at the self-love message and I'm seeing, oh, extra responsibilities and not being overwhelmed, does this apply? If it does, write about it. If it doesn't apply, don't try to make something fit if it's just not fitting, right? If this is something that you think you could go more in depth in and talk about, then certainly use this worksheet. But if not, just read it and keep it moving. Okay, so here is the worksheet. It kind of looks like the other worksheets that I've shared in the previous videos, but that is because I like things to be pretty consistent, but you will be able to tell which worksheet it is because it is titled appropriately. So it says my self-love message. So that's how you'll know that you are working on the correct worksheet. And just like before, I do have some options, and if none of the options resonate but there is a specific area that's not included, then just write it under other. That way You can add your responses based on the area that you chose. And at the bottom of this worksheet, it says, think of a self-love message as a message from your big sis or bestie. It may not always apply, but it's always given with love. To expand on some of the areas in this worksheet, if I checked family, which I did, to expand on the area that I checked, I wrote, I am not alone. I have people around me that are willing to help me. I can do hard things, not because I have it all together, but because I'm not doing it all on my own. In this example, I wanted to basically show what it looks like if you were to use a journal prompt as a way to affirm what is actually true for you. So even if you feel like, oh, I need to ask for help, and that's just something that came up for you as you were looking through or reading through this self-love message, you could also use these prompts as a place to affirm what is true for you, right? Like, you aren't alone. You know, it doesn't have to be something where you're always reflecting. It could just be something where you're affirming. So this box in the corner is just a reminder. It's not really anything that you have to respond to. So I don't know if I mentioned this before. I hope I did. But if I did not, the question that you would ask as you are shuffling your cards is, what is my self-love message for the day? Or what is my self-love message for the week? I will see you in the next video.